It's tough to speak right now for me. Sorry, I'm lost for words after this game. It just came up short to PSG a few minutes ago in penalty kicks. We played, I thought, well. We played defensively well. But in the end of the day, PSG were the more dominant side. They had the chances. We didn't. We had the Havertz chance, and maybe Gyökeres had one, Timber, but they weren't that threatening. We had one or two pass balls into the middle, but we couldn't get the ball into the back of the net. I'm sorry, but I'm just gutted right now. I'm sad. Of course, I'm not in a good headspace. PSG wasn't really threatening in the first half from open play. Raya was very good today in goal. He saved us everything he had to. He didn't have to do too much in the first half. Our center backs were incredible, I think. Saliba, I think, was outstanding today. Gabriel was very, very good. Unfortunately, he is a tragic figure also, as well as Eze, who didn't score, but Gabriel didn't score the last penalty, and so unfortunately lost this one. And are the runners up in the Champions League. We can be proud of this team, proud of this effort. I think the starting 11 was right at the end. Arteta brought on Hincapié, he brought on Mosquera, but Hincapié instead of Calafiori was the more defensive oriented. Otherwise, Kelly worked very good with Rice. In the middle, they worked very well. Odegaard was also decent, and Howard scored the first goal when we scored the first goal. Otherwise, we didn't have any big chances. I remember our shots on goal. We were threatening in the second half a little bit more, starting with in the 70th minute. But before that, unfortunately, Mosquera issued a penalty, fouled Kvaratskhelia. He was the last man. He had to take it a little bit too late to the ball. It's a penalty. That was a correct decision. Otherwise than that, I think the referee, Siebert, was actually shocking. He was horrible. I was so angry. I just shouted so many times at my screen. But in the end, Madueke was tangled up with Mendes, but I don't think it's a penalty, if I'm honest. And they checked it later on, but I don't know. Siebert was just, I don't know, he wrecked the game, I think, with silly foul decisions. Every contact was a foul, but at the end, he didn't play a huge role. We didn't lose because of him. I could name so many names, but he was just, what a poor performance from a referee in the biggest stage of European football. He was just shite. But we were defensively good. But in offense, we didn't have many opportunities. When we had opportunities, I think later on in the match, Eze could have hit a clean ball to Madueke, who's maybe from goal. Havertz got stopped, had a good chance after Odegaard assisted him. But PSG had many chances, but not very dangerous chances. They didn't look like scoring, really. And I think, if we are frank, they just scored from a penalty, and that was all they did. Basically, they had a few shots. I think Vitinha hit the ball just slightly over the bar. They had many shots in total, but not very many shots on goal. Raya didn't have to save that many. He had a good save where he got right in front of Barcalo to the ball. Unfortunate for us. At the end of the overtime, I think there were maybe a few situations. Coming back to Siebert, he didn't let us take a corner kick because he said we were time wasting, and at the end of the second overtime, right at the end, before the penalty kicks. He didn't give us the corner again, and there were no extra minutes tagged on. But he should have let us take this corner kick opportunity. But yeah, at the end, maybe it would have mattered, maybe don't. It was just a prayer in my head, maybe to score a late winner, which would have been amazing, but yeah. We can be proud of this team, of this effort. I'm proud of this effort. Defensively, so many standouts. The whole team defended very well. PSG had to work very hard. At the end, it was a penalty. No chance for Raya. Well struck by Dembele. And in the penalty kicks, we unfortunate were the second shooters. PSG took the first penalty kick. I think if you go second, it's always, I think, a little bit harder. Although, yeah, PSG must score, so the pressure is on, and the pressure was on. What I don't like, I know some players nowadays have funny runs up to a penalty kick. I don't like these funny steps, these small steps, maybe hesitation. Yeah, I know Lewandowski of Bayern Munich or Barcelona, he was sensational at them, but Eze had these funny steps. Normally he scores, but this time it went wide left, I think 1.5 meters. Not even hit the target. It was maybe nerves. Just couldn't hit the ball cleanly. I've got to look at it again. And then Raya, I thought before the penalty kicks, please no penalty kicks, because Raya isn't that good of a penalty killer. He doesn't save many penalties, but he did exceptionally well. Then I've missed his name. I think a Brazilian, doesn't play too many minutes for PSG, scores for the 4th time for PSG. They're 1 up, and then I thought Madueke would take the next penalty, but it was Gabriel. Gabriel usually makes penalties if he's asked to hit them, but this time I think he was nervous, as well as Eze. Of course, all players were nervous. How can you not be in this moment? It's obvious. The stage, a final, all the weight on your shoulders, and he just guided. He didn't hit it cleanly. And that was unfortunately the end. Congratulations to PSG again. They did deserve it. But I think we were up against a more potent team regarding the squad. Their attackers, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Doué, Barcola and Son, they didn't shine, but they did enough in the penalty stage. It wasn't our night, unfortunately. 20 years after we lost to Barcelona in Paris, we now lost against Paris in Budapest. It's hard for me to speak about it because it just stings, but I know I'm not alone here, so leave your comments down below. What do you think about this game? What are your feelings right now? Are you also proud of the team or just angry? Just let me know. I'm Seth Gunner, an Arsenal fan channel, and I'll see you a little bit later in the player ratings.